Hello and welcome to the Intuitive Heart Healer podcast. My name is Valerie McLaughlin and I am your host, intuitive heart healer, energy artist, and spiritual guide. I hold space with love to help you to connect to your heart center so that you can connect greater to spirit and live a life full of love, joy, and happiness as you are guided by your intuition and higher self, helping you to heal and let go along the way so that you can ascend and become more enlightened. In today's podcast, I talk about finding that divine love and going back to that love and releasing any hate. I talk about hate being taught to us. And when I say taught to us, I'm not just talking about taught to us about our parents or grandparents or aunt and uncles, our siblings. I'm talking about being taught to us by society as a whole, through TV shows and movies, through teenagers, through religion, through sports, through music, through art, through so many different things. So when I refer to being taught to us, I am not talking about just our parents, because our parents can only do so much. And what we overhear in a television show or something like that can have such a great impact on our life, whether it is in one direction or another. So just keep that in mind as I use the word taught throughout this podcast. Hello, beautiful souls. I am so grateful to be here with you today. Lately I've been really feeling frustrated and angry. I live a life from my heart space with love. That is where I choose to be. But sometimes our human experiences and our humanness comes in and it knocks you out a little bit, and maybe you're not always coming from that place of love. But you know what? That's part of your journey. Part of your journey is to stay focused, but also to experience experiences so that you learn from them. And I've been really feeling this frustration and this anger for so many different reasons. In the U.S., we have all this divide over wear masks, don't wear masks. Republicans, Democrats, who likes Trump, who likes Biden, who hates them both. I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. The whole Black Lives Matters, people being divided over that, saying all lives matter, talking about defunding the police department and what that really means. And there's a lot going on, and I'm not getting into it. I'm not going to talk about my feelings and my views on this topic, on these topics, because I think part of me is still trying to figure all this out, and I'm just being in the moment and being in my truth of what I feel is at that moment, because we're constantly evolving. And one of the truths that I really work on staying in is coming from my heart space. But when all these things are coming at you at so many different directions, all these different feelings come up, and sometimes you get out of that heart space and you start judging, you feel fear, and you start to forget a little bit about love and what love is. And that's kind of where I'm at this moment. And I've spent time reflecting on this, getting angry at being angry, getting frustrated, figuring out where my anger is coming from. And this whole entire time, I've been guided back to the same thing over and over and over again. And that is love. Love, love, love. All we need is love. Love is healing. Love will get us through. And that is where I am at. I listened to this podcast the other day, and the person that was being interviewed was talking about channeling, but then she channeled the Sirians and their message that came through. And I had never heard of this lady. I don't even actually remember her name. I think it might have been Nancy or something. But the message that she had, the message that came through was, we need to focus on love. We need to remember love. We need to bring in that divine love. Love is what's going to help us grow. Love is what's going to help us expand. Love is going to help us to be individuals, but also come together as the collective consciousness. These other feelings, this anger, this hate, this frustration, these are all of us working through things that we need to release and let go. So don't be mad and angry that you're angry and frustrated. Because that anger and frustration, when you sit in it and you be in it, will allow you to understand where it's coming from. And then you can begin to evolve from that. You can take that anger and turn it into passion and turn it into a conscious action where you actually come from a place of love and not anger and not hate and not frustration. And the other thing I thought was very interesting in what the Sirians said was kind of two things, because they were actually talked together as one, but sometimes we look at them as two separate beings. Talked about Mother Earth and Mother Earth being angry. And I talked about this in my podcast a couple episodes ago, that Mother Earth wanted us to know that she's not angry. That when tornadoes and hurricanes and volcanoes and global warming or not global warming, whatever you want to call it, things that are going on, this is not her being angry, and we are not being punished. Yes, she may be releasing energy. Yes, she is evolving and growing and changing, and like that anger that you have that bubbles up inside of you is like that volcano, and it's you releasing and letting go. She's not angry at us. She's not mad at us. She is not punishing us. And just like the goddesses, whatever you think is sitting up in the universe looking down at us, for one, they're not looking down at us because we're all in the same energetic space, but they're not looking down at us and punishing us. They're not mad at us. They might get a little frustrated that sometimes we're not quite getting there as fast as maybe we should, but they're not angry. They're not mad at us. They're not punishing us. Nobody is punishing us. Everything that is happening for our growth. It's happening for us. No one is doing anything to us. But the same message is coming through, is that remember them. Remember the love. Appreciate Mother Earth. Appreciate the help from Mercury, from God. Appreciate the guidance. Appreciate their energy. Know that they're there to help and support you. But love is where it is at. Love is our answer. Remembering that divine, that beautiful, unconditional love. I had a session today, and a brother came in for a message for his sister, and it wasn't even a message. He just came in, and when he came into my energetic field, I felt this beautiful, genuine, unconditional love that he had for his sister, and I started to cry. And the tears just started running down my eyes. And it wasn't because I was sad that he was not physically here and she was, and she's going through her stuff with all that. It was tears of joy and tears of just
feeling that pure, genuine love. And it was also a reminder to me, which I was so grateful for. And I was like, I really need to talk about this love. I really want to spread love. That is my mission. So even if I get angry and frustrated and mad, that's me figuring things out. That's you figuring things out. But spreading love, coming from a place of love, is where my focus, where my mission is. And the more I spread love to all of you, the more I hope you connect to love and spread love. And that's how we're going to really make a difference in this world. And there's a lot of hate going on, a lot of hate for different reasons. Part of it is us not letting go and believing that we're right and the other person is wrong. And because we feel so strong about being right and that the other person's wrong, it's like all this hate that is coming out within us, like the words that we are saying to each other. And then there's also these words that are like, I appreciate you being in the truth of who you are and that you're standing in your truth. But I'm standing in the truth of who I am, and I'm looking outside of the media for my answers, and maybe you should do that too. Is that really allowing somebody to stay in the truth of who they are? Are you accepting them on their path? These are questions I ask myself. And when I come back to the answers of myself, when I find myself doing something like this, that's when I step out from my heart and not come from my heart space. I realize that I'm bringing in judgment in that way, and that's not coming from love. But there's a lot of hate going on, and I read this article that I saw. It was actually a blog post that somebody was writing about her experience of being a lesbian, and she dresses a lot more masculine. And I've experienced this myself. You know, sometimes I stand in my masculine energy. Sometimes I stand in my feminine energy. I allow myself to show up who I want to and how I want to express my love and express myself that day. And she's gotten into arguments, but over the years, she's learned to kind of let it go. But when she experienced being called "you dyke bitch" in front of her partner, who is a little bit more feminine, that doesn't necessarily come across as a lesbian as she does, standing in her more masculine form, her partner was so hurt. And these were neighbors that she started to deal with. And it was an older man yelling these things out of the car with his young granddaughter in the back seat. And by the end of him yelling, "You look like a lesbian bitch," and things like that, the granddaughter in the back seat started with the same words, repeating after. And it's something that has been talked about over the years, that hate is taught. We are taught to hate. We are taught to use words like, "Oh, you fag." Like that's something you might say to somebody, or other hateful words like that. And it's like you're saying that to hurt somebody, whether they are one or not. You're saying that to hurt somebody. This is learned behavior. This is behavior that has been learned along the way. And love is not being taught there. Love is not being taught. Hate is being taught. When we use these words, I don't get offended by the word dyke anymore, because I don't allow it to have power over me. It doesn't bother me. You want to call me one, go ahead. It's not going to bother me. And if it bothers somebody around me, then that is for them to come to terms with. And you may take it as something hateful coming back to me, but I don't have hate in those words. And what I'm going to do is send love back to you. Because you know what? I want more love in the world. So I'm not going to send any hateful speech back to you. And sometimes, especially right now, sometimes that's a little challenging to do. But I encourage you all to do it. But don't do it in a backwards way. And you don't actually have to say anything. All you have to do is be in that state of love and just sending that back out. And you can say it in your mind. Nelson Mandela said this: no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. And I'm going to add sexual orientation in there. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes from more naturally to a human heart than its opposite. Love comes more naturally to the human's heart than the opposite. And that's so true, because our souls, our sacred space within our heart, our souls evolves from our hearts. Our souls knows love. Our soul come from this love. They go back to this love. Our true essence is love. Our human experience, our behaviors that we are learned, and we begin to remember, we choose to remember, if we choose to, the love, that true essence of love where we come from. We can be taught to hate, we can be taught behaviors. We remember the love that we are. We can connect to that divine love, that pure love, that unconditional love, the love without expectations, the love that is so pure that when you feel it for the very first time, or you feel it even stronger, you will have tears in your eyes, kind of like I did today when I felt that pure, genuine love, that reminder that my message to all of you, my purpose in this world is love, is to spread love, and to help people connect to the heart space and live more from a place of love, to go deeper into love. And this is a great reminder for me and for all of us, no matter where we are on our paths, to remember love, but also to remember that the anger and the frustration is a part of who we are, and it is going to teach us to be greater human beings if we go into there and we allow it to show us the lessons, for us to learn, for us to evolve, for us to grow. And if you suppress this and you keep pushing it off, what do they call it? Spiritual bypassing it, you're missing out on a beautiful opportunity. You're missing out on part of your evolution, because spiritual bypassing does not allow you to grow through that. You will stay in this spot that you are, but not necessarily ascend higher if you don't address this feeling of anger and hatred and letting go. A lot of the hatred that is expressed around, from my experience and things that I have gone through, me feeling uncomfortable with my body and understanding why it was so hard for me to come out, was from a lack of understanding, for not being comfortable with myself, for being taught that being a certain way was wrong, being taught that a way that you look is you should be treated differently. And so what I found, that most of this hatred comes from a lack of understanding. It comes from fear, and it comes from things that we have been taught along the way. Taught that loving somebody of the same sex is wrong. Like, we have some type of disease that we're going to spread all over the world. But it comes from a place of not understanding. It comes from being taught this. It comes from fear. It turns into hate. You hate somebody so much for they were. That's what that grandfather was yelling. Those things was out of hate, but that comes from fear, and that comes from the unknown. There's nothing wrong with me. I am perfect who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am, just like the young lady in the article. But it took me, it took her, it took us a long time to get where we at. And some of us along the way have it easier than others. I know I've had it a lot easier than a friend of mine who is gay. He's had it a lot harder than I have, because our society are a lot tougher on them because they don't consider them manly enough. But what really is a definition of a man, and who defines that definition? This all comes from fear. Fearing somebody for the way they look, the way they act. It all comes from fear and not understanding that we are all different and that we are all perfect the way we are. Even when we're imperfect, we are perfect. And if we could just open up to love, if we could just open up to listen through our hearts, if we could let go of the need to be right and listen with our hearts, if we choose to be more understanding, we could bring so much in this world. We can bring so much more love into this world. That love is what's going to get us through. And you know what? The beautiful part of all this is that we're all individuals. We are all finding our individuality right now. We are all learning to find our own truths. We are all learning who we are. And all these beautiful different individuals make up this beautiful collective consciousness that we are all part of and we are all connected to. But we are all allowed to stand in our own truth, to be who we are, to believe our beliefs. We need to open our hearts up and allow the person next to you to stand in their own truth, even if it's different than your truth. And by openly communication, openly talking from our hearts, opening our ears through our hearts with love, we can begin to heal and grow and evolve. We do this all through love. We do this through our heart center. We do this by connecting greater to our higher self, who guides us from a place of love. And when we do this, that's how we can grow and change, bring in more peace and happiness and joy to this world. We gotta let go. We have to let go. We have to let go of our fears. We have to let go of our judgments. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it takes time. And sometimes you might go back to that and have that fear or judgment or something come up. And when you do, you need to take the time to go in yourself. Go within. Go within, because your answers are within. Connect with your love that's within, and connect with your soul and that divine love that your soul is bringing in. If you would like to work with me, connecting to your loved ones or connecting to your heart and spirit, you can find out more information about me at intuitivehearthealer.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at intuitivehearthealer.com, or join my Facebook group, Intuitive Heart Healer, where I do daily guidance. And currently, right now, we are doing a wonderful daily gratitude practice to help raise the vibration of the collective and ourselves. Go out and spread some love in this world. Go out and have fun and play and bring in joy. Go appreciate what you have. Be grateful for all that's around you. Be grateful for the anger and what it's showing you. Be grateful for the frustration and what is showing you. Because when you go into those things, they will invoke change within you. If you allow yourself to go in them and be in that. And then you can bring love to it. And love is what's going to help get you through. Love is what's going to bring us together. and allow us to stand as individuals. Love is the great healer. Love is everything. Everything is love. Go out and spread some love into this world. I am sending all my love to all of you. Till next time, bye-bye for now.